What's up, YouTube? I want to talk about a few things in this video, so let's just get to it. So the first thing I want to talk about is artificiality. So a lot of people have this perspective on AI that it's completely new and that it's actually intelligence and it's gonna take over. I've made a video in the past about AI and my thoughts about it. I don't think that it will take over. In fact, I think that people will find a way to make it a tool for society. Um, And then let me just add to that. There's a big craze right now about like if you use AI, um, you're like draining the fresh water and that you are destroying certain neighborhoods and that you're just contributing to the cause. Don't use it, do your part to not use it, but guess what? What can happen will happen. People will use AI. There are people out there who need to survive. There are foreign students who depend on AI to finish their homework and to get that assignment in. You can't change that. No matter what you do, their problems are more important than yours. Do your part, but you can't control the majority. And if you fall under that category of like, you need to survive, like, I strongly suggest you rely on yourself to figure out those problems. But like, think of it this way: the like AI is just an it's just like I had a cool word. I was in the shower just now, and I just thought of a cool way of explaining it. But AI is just like the second evolutionary to the internet, or it's just the byproduct of the internet. Like it's gonna happen. It was gonna happen no matter what. When the internet was made, it was gonna happen. At the end of the day, it's just artificial. That's it. It's a way of receiving information that is artificial or not of human nature. That's all it is. Because before you'd have to talk to somebody, you have to read a book, you would have to even like watch TV, watch video, but it's usually somebody in the program or somebody in the media that is talking to you, and like even though it is digital and you're watching the TV, right, those were still people who were explaining something. So no matter what, like pre-internet, right, pre-digital age, you would have to typically get your information or wisdom or knowledge, whatever you want to call it, from somebody or a human. But now you can get it artificially, and even though people have wrote stuff online and most of the information online is the first source of the information is typically a person. Like if you search up how to tie your shoes, right, there will be like a wiki how or something thing on how to tie your shoes that was most likely created by a person. So no matter what, there people get credited online and people have contributed online. But the thing is that it's the engine, the medium itself. The way you're doing it is through Google or through Bing or through YouTube, like whatever you use to um, export information into your brain or import information into your brain. It's become artificial in a way. And so, number one, what I said before was that this is bound to happen. Like, it's bound to happen since we created the internet. The whole thing of like, stopping AI, that's good, but guess what? Like, it's gonna happen no matter what. Like, that takeover will happen. We can't prevent it. But the thing is that the takeover doesn't have to be a bad thing. And I'm not saying that like let's just like accelerate this process, but AI will also, even though it's wiping out a lot of good, it's gonna wipe out a lot of bad as well. And what I mean by bad doesn't mean like it's like bad. I mean like it's like fabrication. It's like fabricated bad, like just shit that isn't necessary. So I think that's what's the people who are scared of the people are the ones who were already doing something fabricated in the first place. They were already doing some bullshit. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. And, you know, maybe a few years down the line, it will become like the worst thing, and I'll be looking at this video and be like, damn, I should have like checked myself before I wrecked myself, type of thing. But honestly, I don't think it's something to stress about because it's just the internet at just a faster pace. So, second thing I want to talk about is, what is a renaissance? And I made a video about this a while ago, but it wasn't really serious. It was like 2 minutes long. And so, a renaissance is just a rediscovering of the imagination. It is where life, reality, gets not so dark necessarily, but there is no other option for humanity but to think and to rely on our own imagination and our own intuition. And so that's what a renaissance is in simple terms. It is that we're like, life just is bad. The circumstances are not in our favor. It's not necessarily in our favor, but there's no external force that is physical and material that we can rely on anymore. So we have to rely on our spiritual, metaphysical, I guess, like parts of us or components. And so what that would be like is, yeah, like the system that has been set up for the past over 100 years, right? This has been a big relaxer for most. This has been something that people can trust on. I can go to school, get a job, have a family. You can trust that system, right? Therefore, you don't have to really question it. Therefore, you don't have to use your imagination. You can just be a physical human being and like be not necessarily subconscious, because subconscious is to use your imagination, but you don't even have to be like, you could just be conscious and just, I don't know, just exist. And it's pretty nice. And, I think back on those times in the 1970s or even the 1950s and 60s when there's like this whole new world of like this system and you can just rely on it. Like, that's great, right? But right now, the world needs thinkers. They need people to think beyond what has been programmed for most. And so there's going to be people who will begin, not people, but there will be those. I don't want to say there's going to be two halves, because like a lot of people think there's going to be two halves, as in like the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get more poor, right? And yeah, I kind of believe that, but I also think it's going to be like, there's going to be a side that are really independently thinking, and they've always been free thinkers, they've always been sensitized, and they're maybe a little more entrepreneurial. I feel like those are the people who are really going to develop and strive in this new system that will come to be in the next decade or so. And then there's going to be a group of people who cannot think beyond the system and have never been able to, and are very maybe stubborn, or they're just they want to be comfortable. They don't want to be reliant on themselves. But the thing is that they're not really spiritual either, because I think, religion or like spirituality, you're putting your faith in something that is theoretically not real, right? It's not, you can't see it in front of you. And that's where that faith comes in, is that you have to have faith, you have to believe, right? So I think this next kind of wave of people are going to be believers, because when times are dark, there's only really one thing you can believe in, and is that they're going to get better. They will get better eventually. Otherwise, you just accept defeat and accept these dark times. And so that's what I'm kind of, and you just like, you try to do what's best for yourself, or you switch to the dark side, and you cannot think of what times could be like because they are not physical. So like, let's say you had Emperor Palpatine standing in front of you telling you about all these like terrible things that are going to happen, right? And Emperor Palpatine, like you're Anakin Skywalker, let's say, and he's telling you blah 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 blah. Like I can like things can get better, but only through the physical, only through me, only through coming to my side, physically, right? Physically, changing the color of your lightsaber, changing what your actions are, physical, right? That that will kind of happen to some people, I believe. Like people will just say, "Okay, fuck it, I'm gonna go do OnlyFans then. Fuck it, I'm gonna be a drop shipper. Fuck it, I'm just gonna start contributing to this cause." Right? And then you're gonna have the ones that think, okay, well, what if we actually believe in a better society? And I don't think it's necessary. And I think if you call it the rich are gonna get richer, the poor get poorer. I won't really say that, but it's gonna be that. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be those two groups versus one another. And the whole point of the believers is to get more people believing. That's the whole point. But then the whole point of the elites or the exploiters, right? They just want to keep people content and not questioning, right? Not use their imagination. That's what the elites really want. They just don't want people to use their imagination. But this is the point where evil has shown its neck. It's shown its it's had to reach to go a little farther. It's had to escape its shell. It's not like, you know, like a turtle in its shell. The shell's unbreakable, but if the turtle wants to eat, right? If it wants that last bite on the plate, it's got to reach all, it's going to reach farther on this plate with its neck. And when it reveals its neck, that's when good strikes. That's when it dies. That's when the predator can come in and take that turtle. And so it's the same thing with, I believe it's Smaug in The Hobbit. When it wants to destroy more, it shows its belly. When it wants more power, when it wants more gold, it will reveal itself, and there is a weak spot on Smaug's belly, right? So it's the same kind of thing, and that quote came from Barbarian Banter by Jonas Dane and Harry Miller. They were talking about it. I'm not going to claim that I was talking about it. They said it first. But that whole thing of like, yeah, that's what I think is going to happen, was that they're going to want, like, this is what, or that's what's happening now. Like right now, I think people they are wanting more power, but they're revealing themselves in a way, right? And their ways are no longer working, and that is them revealing their neck or revealing their belly. Is to those who are awake and to those who are aware and to those who have escaped Plato's cave, they're seeing like, oh, like they can't please everybody. This is our time. And so what I'm thinking right now is that for the next like 2-3 years, or not even like right now, like this year, I believe that there will be a shift, and there will be a distinct side, and people who are awake and believe in a better future and can imagine one, and then there's going to be a side that wants to stay with the system because it's safe. So that's what I think about the Renaissance, and it's just the imagination. But do I think everybody will be imaginative? Not really. Last thing I want to talk about is remix culture. So I made a video about this today going to the gym, but it feels like everything is a remix of a remix of a remix of a remix, right? And it kind of goes back to the whole thing of the Renaissance. You get to the point where you've heard every song, you've seen every movie, you've seen every plot line, you've dressed in all the types of clothing and material, and just you've tasted all the tastes, right? It gets to the point where you can't take it anymore, and that's where I'm at. I can't take it. So what is there to do? You're left with no other choice but to put out something new yourself, because nobody else is doing it. So that's what I think about remix culture and like the Renaissance. But like what I've seen right now, what made me make that or write that down as part of this video, is that I saw this clip of, it's like, uh, it was this Instagram page, and they were like, they were like, this is the first all black punk band, and it was like these 4 black teenage boys, or like, youthful men in their 20s. And I was like, dude, first of all, these guys are on Billboard #1, because the post was about, these guys are the first to reach the #1 spot on Billboards. That's the first thing. They're in the mainstream, and they're on the Billboard at the #1 spot. Okay? Second thing, they did a song with Travis Barker. Travis Barker has got to be like the biggest sellout of all time. Okay? This guy was Blink-182. He was the drummer. And then he ended up marrying, I think it was it Kourtney Kardashian? Like, dude, they're fucking famous for no reason. Like, you want to be punk, you want to be against the system, you just fucking married the system. You just married the most, like, corporate person out there. Like, the most brainwashing family and show that exists. So, I'm not a huge fan of that. That's fucking stupid. So it's like, okay, those are 2 things. And then the third thing is that their music sucks. Like, their music is the exact same as Blink-182. So it's like, bro, it's been 20 years since Blink-182 was in their prime, and you're just making the exact same music, and you got to #1. Like, those are all red flags. The entire thing's a red flag that just says, like, this is brainwashing. Like, and then all the comments are like, yeah, this is what the black community needs. This is whatever. Like, let me remind you, or let me just say, I am not racist, but like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, we're just forgetting. I'm not saying I'm just saying, but like, the black community is just forgetting about everything, and they're just, as soon as they win, as soon as they see something in the media that is pleasing them in the #1 spot, it's like, amazing, like, hip hip hooray, like, we did it, like, we've revolted against the system. You realize that if somebody's at a #1 Billboard spot and they sound the exact same, they are like a psyop. They are just something that has been placed there to give you this, like, this beacon of hope, when realistically it is meaninless, and it is fabricated, and it's been arranged by those who control the system. So then I'm like, what the hell? And then people will, like, love it because it's punk music, and like, oh, this is so cool, like, it's punk music, but it's just being repeated. It's not even being remixed. It's just being put in this time period, and we're just expect to love it, and we're expect to be like, yo, this is amazing. But no, like, no, it's not amazing. And it's completely sheltering, one sec, it's completely sheltering the current state of the world and how things are going right now. It's like Bad Bunny's Super Bowl thing, or people just keep, they're just being fed over and over and over and over, just remix after remix after remix after remix, and it's like, wake up, wake the fuck up. See, I can't. It really boggles my mind. But that's gonna be the end of the video. My dog is, I gotta go say hi to the dog, but just, things are crazy right now, but it's just, I truly do believe that a renaissance is coming, and depending on what side you're on, it will be beautiful. So, yeah. Thank you for watching, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Peace.